All right, everyone, welcome back into the channel. My name is Mark, and I hope everyone is having a great week, having a great day. Hope you are having some amazing reads already in the month of February. Today, I want to go over and discuss a book that I had talked about in my January wrap up in my last video. And I wasn't even going to talk about it in my last video, but it was a part of the wrap up, so I had to include it. It was a new author that I had found, and I just really want to dive more into the book because I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I want to talk more about it. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, everyone knows that I like to just give everyone a little snippet of the books that I read. You know, I don't like to give out too much information. All I want to do is give you enough information to intrigue you to want to go out and buy it. But you know what? Let's switch that up in 2026. Let me go more into the books. I'm not going to go too heavily into them, but I always want to dive more into my reviews because there's so much that I want to talk about. So you know what? Let's start off with this one as the first one that I will go more into and explain and tell you guys why I liked this book so much. So the book that I want to talk about, the new author that I found last year at the end of last year, is Never Lie by Freida McFadden. Like I said, I had mentioned this in my last video, but I only talked about it for maybe like a minute or two. So I found this author at the end of last year because whenever I go to Barnes & Noble, I always go to an aisle and look for an author that I have never heard of. Pick out that book. Well, I look through some of their works, and then I pick a book out that I think I'll like, and I'll read it. And if I like it, I will buy more of that author's work. If it's just okay, mediocre, and maybe I'll get back to it. Maybe I'll read more of their books later on down the line. But this one, I want to read a lot more of her books right away. I have like 6 or 7 in the cart already that sound very, very good. So, but let me discuss more about this book. Okay, so you have a couple who are on the way to meet a realtor to buy the home of a psychiatrist who disappeared years ago. Now, the timeline is weird because they don't tell you the time between when the couple was buying the home and when the psychiatrist disappeared. And the psychiatrist's name, I don't really remember the names, is Dr. Adrian Hale. And the couple are Trisha, and her husband's name is it in here? No, it's not. Ethan. Trisha and Ethan are the couple buying the psychiatrist's home. So they're on their way to meet the realtor, and on their way, they get stuck in a snowstorm. So now they're trapped. They can't get out. The wife isn't really too happy about being stuck in a home that's not theirs, and then especially one that was from a psychiatrist who disappeared and is most likely, dead. So she's not happy about it, but they have no choice but to stay there. The husband, of course, is loving it. The house is huge. It's beautiful. Lots of rooms. The neighbors are far apart. Like, this is the husband's dream home, while the wife is not too sure about buying this home. And as they approach the home, they see a light that is on at the top of the house. I'm guessing it's the attic. So when they come into the home, they start looking around. They start figuring out if the heat works, if the water works, if there's food in here. I mean, they had food in the car, but now the car is almost a mile away because they couldn't make it all the way to the house because the snow was just too much. So they had to hike it the rest of the way. So as the days go on, the wife just notices things that are just weird and don't seem right in the house. For example, the light that I mentioned that was on, all of a sudden it's not on anymore, right? There is a picture of the psychiatrist herself hanging on the wall, I believe above the fireplace. The husband had taken that down and put it somewhere. And I think it was the next day or maybe 2 days later, the picture was back up on the wall. Weird. And then there was a glass in the kitchen that you can obviously tell was used within the last couple of days because everything else in the kitchen was dusty except for the glass. And of course, the wife is just trying to explain things to the husband. I don't feel comfortable. We need to get out of here. Something just doesn't seem right with this house. There's something wrong here. And of course, the husband, being the husband, is just saying, it's an old house. It creaks. It makes noises. And who knows? The real estate agent could have left the light on upstairs, but why is it turned off now? And she could have been the one that had used the glass of water in the kitchen. That's why it explains why there's no dust on the glass when everything else is all dusty. The wife is very annoyed with the husband because he just keeps blowing everything off because all the husband is thinking about is, this is my home. I want to buy this home. It's beautiful. We can make a family here, and this could be our dream home. This could be it. So now, let me talk about the psychiatrist. Okay? She's very independent. Okay? There's flashbacks in the book too. But the flashbacks are done very, very well to where you will not get lost. Because I know that with flashbacks in a book, if it's done too much, you start to get lost and it just becomes overwhelming with how many flashbacks are used in a book. So it jumps from when the psychiatrist was still around and talking with her patients, then it jumps over to the couple in the home. So like I said, the psychiatrist is independent. She doesn't rely on anybody. And she's also an author. And she's going on book tours. But she's starting to fall for a coworker. And she never thought she would. She didn't have any plans on being with anybody. She likes to be alone. She likes to have things done her way and her way only. She has a set schedule. She does things accordingly how she likes it, and that's how it is. And being with someone will interrupt that. But she falls for this coworker, and they start dating for a few months. And then things start to get a little hairy because the psychiatrist has a client who she was trying to help for, I'm going to say maybe a few months, right? Within the timeline that I'm thinking. That she's feeling uncomfortable with now. And she cuts ties with the client. One, mainly because the client's not even paying her anymore. I think the client's parents were paying for the sessions, and then they just stopped, and then she was continuing to see the patient, but she wasn't getting paid for a long time, so she cut ties with the client. Well, the client did not like that one bit, and the psychiatrist did something early on in the book that I wouldn't say it would have ruined her career, but it definitely would have put a wrong image on her. And of course, this patient has that video recording of what she did. I'm not going to say what it is. I don't want to give that away. But basically, the patient is blackmailing her to continue to see her. She doesn't want this video to get out, so she has no other choice but to keep on seeing this patient. She's trying to figure out a way out, trying to figure out how she can get out of this mess. She can't. Because anything that she does, this patient will just put the video out there in public. And like I just said, it'll paint a bad image on her part. So she drags the boyfriend in the middle of this. So the boyfriend now is in a position where he can either walk away or stick with the person that he's falling in love with and try and help her handle the situation. I'm not going to tell you which one he does, but keep the patient and her boyfriend in your mind, okay? Remember those two because they play a very important role in this book. So going back to the young couple, right? The young couple is, well, they are not. Should I say this? Should I say this? No, I don't want to. I don't want to because that might give it away too much. Let's just say the couple obviously play a huge part in this book, just like the patient and the boyfriend of the psychiatrist. There's something with the patient and the young couple that might connect them in some way. That's it. I don't want to say too much. There are so many twists in this book. The book is fast-paced. It is very engaging. It had me glued from the very first page. I love a good thriller. Like, this is what a thriller is all about. Twists and just keeping you at the edge of your seat. And, oh man, this book is so good. And I want to dive more into this author's work. Like I said, I have 6 or 7 more books lined up. And, oh man, I can't wait to read more of her work. So keep in mind, just keep the patient, the boyfriend, and the couple, the 4 people, in your mind because they play a very crucial part in this story. I want you all to read this and dive into this author. Freida McFadden, Never Lie. I highly recommend this book. This just triggered the want to read more thrillers this year, and I plan on it. And I can't wait to read more of her work and find other authors who write in the thriller genre and just, yes, this is what reading is all about, my friends. I love it. So, the last like 100 pages of this book, like I said, the book is fast paced. It really is. But I'm going to say like the last 100 pages of this book, there will be so much going on. You'll be like, all right, what is going on here? How and why did this just happen? You'll have so many questions and you'll just be thrown back and just be like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. So I highly recommend this book. This one was excellent. Excellent. And I have this one for Josh from Already Overread to get to. And I hope he does soon, because I really think that you will like this one, Josh. So I know you like a good thriller. So, but that is it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, stay strong, stay positive, stay focused, and I will see you next time.